violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. But I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, YouTube? It's the Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get into the video.
There is a push to get more officers on the street and away from traffic concerns at the world's busiest airport. City Council passed the ordinance Monday, and Channel 2's Dave Huddleston is live at the airport with how this could all work for us. Dave.
Yeah, Linda, first of all, I want to show you the airport, what it looks like right now. Not too bad. If you have a flight this afternoon, not too bad for people to be dropped off here at the world's busiest airport. But there are 139 sworn officers that work here at the airport, and some city leaders say maybe some of those officers could be used elsewhere.
You don't need hundreds of hours of training to direct traffic.
Atlanta.
Wow. So they're trying to remove officers from the airport to the streets, when in all actuality they should just hire more officers, man. Okay, because this is like a redistribution of funds type thing. Okay, instead of spending more money, take the money that you're already spending here. We haven't had an incident here in a long time, so let's move it somewhere else. And I just don't think it's a good idea. The airports can be a very dangerous place, especially when you're talking about Atlanta. Not to mention the human trafficking issue, but just the potential of these super gremlins on demon time starting to see the lax in security at the airport and getting buck wild. All right, it can happen. There's been multiple fights at these airport or at Hartsville Jackson, and multiple incidents. But it looks like they're trying to defund the airport police, and I'm not with it.
Councilman Dustin Hillis pushed for and was able to pass for some of Atlanta's sworn officers who work at Atlanta's airport to do less traffic control and more patrols at and possibly away from the airport.
It was at the full council on Monday, so it will likely become effective by operational law within the next week.
Atlanta's sworn officers aren't the ones stopping traffic so people can walk to the parking garage. That's a separate unit called ATL Enforcement. They're non-sworn officers who have limited duties. But Hillis says some of the 139 sworn officers at the airport could be used elsewhere since there's a shortage of officers on the force.
Anytime you have anywhere from 20 to 25% vacancy in APD, then we have to look at every tool we have, any kind of legislative change that we can make to free up those resources and support our police officers and public safety officers.
The city has a contract on how many sworn officers work at the airport to handle problems at the terminal and unruly passengers or other problems. Tickets and traffic enforcement, Hillis says maybe that could be something for the non-sworn officers.
But we don't really need an officer with hundreds of hours of training performing that job.
Again, ATL Enforcement, the officer standing at the airport crosswalks can't make arrests or give out moving violations when there's a major issue outside in the pickup or drop-off location area. They have to call a sworn officer for backup. Reporting live from Hartsville-Jackson International Airport, Dave Huddleston, Channel 2 Action News.
Now to a Fox 5 exclusive. Authorities are investigating a break-in security protocol that may have allowed a passenger to board a plane with a gun.
Multiple sources tell Fox 5 the X-ray machine showed a gun in a carry-on item, but instead of pulling the bag, the assigned screener allowed the passenger to take the bag and go on his way.
Wow. So that is that's a security breach if I've ever seen one. They allowed this individual to bring a strap on the plane. Okay. And they also are looking to defund the police at the airport. Like I said, I'm not with it.
Fox 5's Morse Diggs has the story.
Now, many of you are not familiar with this area here of the airport. It's a smaller security screening airport.
the South Checkpoint. It is here at around 1 o'clock on Monday afternoon that my sources tell me a passenger got through with a prohibited item, a handgun. The new South Checkpoint has state-of-the-art X-ray. When a prohibited item is placed on the belt, there is an alert. The specifics federal authorities in Washington would prefer I not reveal. The image of a handgun came up Monday afternoon. Under normal protocol, the screener should have pulled the carry-on bag brought by a male passenger who appeared to be 25 to 30 years old. But that did not happen, and Atlanta Airport Police were not called. The traveler was allowed to take the bag. He went downstairs to go to his gate. Shortly thereafter, screeners did an additional review. They thought that a mistake was made and quickly tried to catch up to the traveler. They never found him.
Wow. That's crazy. I mean, are these folks doing their job? Are they sleep on the job? What's going on? What's going on?
TSA Washington confirms there is an open investigation of this incident. Quote, there are unconfirmed reports of a missed firearm at the South TSA checkpoint at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. This followed a routine review of images from carry-on bags. As a prudent security measure, TSA scanned the terminal for the passenger with the carry-on bag in question. TSA takes the situation very seriously and is currently investigating the circumstances. Appropriate corrective action may be required with additional training. Now, for that unidentified traveler, there's some things he will need to do to protect himself for his next trip. Once he does discover that inside his bag, along with all his other items, he indeed has a gun inside here. He'll need to take that gun and put it in a hard case just like this one. This hard case needs to be secured and checked with the airline for his next trip. And by the way, that gun I put inside, it's a replica. I didn't bring a live firearm to the airport here. From Hartsfield-Jackson, I'm Morse Diggs, Fox 5 News.
Morse, thanks.
That is what is needed as we saw another year of climbing violent crime statistics.
Homicide numbers in the city of Atlanta from 2021 are the highest they've been in 30 years. According to APD's Week 52 crime report, the department investigated at least 156 homicides in 2021. That's about a 3% increase from 2020 and a 64% increase over 2019.
The previous homicide record of 241 was set in 1990. This is according to a report by CNN.
Wow. And that's pretty crazy, okay? 1990 there was 241 and now we're hawking that.
And as for other violent crimes, aggravated assaults were up 9% from 2020, and the department is also reporting a staggering 39% increase in rapes. Mayor Dickens vowed to initiate a plan he is calling Safe Streets, and he wants to hire about 250 APD officers by the end of 2022, also train new and current officers.
And they do this Safe Streets program all across the nation, so this isn't something that Mayor Andre Dickens made up on his own. Oh no, it's just another program that they have implemented that it does definitely reduce crime in some instances if the courts are working the way that they should be.
On conflict resolution, de-escalation, and community policing, and increase street lights and security cameras across the city.
Marietta, tonight police are asking for your help catching the shooter who ended a 17-year-old's life.
Police say it happened at Walton Village at a massive graduation party the weekend before last. Fox 5's Rob DiRienzo has new police body camera footage from that chaotic call.
Marietta police say a massive group of teens showed up at this condo complex. When the police showed up, they found the body of that 17-year-old boy. 2 weeks have passed and still very little answers.
So guys, remember we did cover this story and we basically figured out that it was an Airbnb party. Then the owner of the Airbnb told them to leave, so they tried to go take it to an apartment complex, and that's when the shooting occurred.
It was a very chaotic scene.
Body camera video shows a Marietta police officer running up to the scene in Walton Village with his service rifle.
They did discover who we now know to be Grayson Green, who was lying on the ground with what appeared to be a gunshot wound to the chest.
Shortly after, 17-year-old Grayson Green died at Wellstar Kennestone Hospital. One neighbor at Walton Village, who didn't want to go on camera, says about 200 teens showed up from seemingly out of nowhere.
It was a big party, a party that I believe is got control. The party came from one subdivision and came over here.
Marietta cops say that first party was at an Airbnb outside of city limits on Saturday, May 21st. They think social media led the kids to the gated community.
So they tried to do like some type of after party at my crib, transition, and I mean, you got 200 of these super gremlins on demon time, all in a crowd walking to one destination. There's no way that's gonna end well.
They was trying to get in the gate, and one thing led to another, then big commotion, big fight, and then you heard the gunshots.
After Green was shot, neighbors called police in a panic. Once cops got there, surveillance video from a parking lot across the street shows the teens taking off.
You had kids coming out of every different entrance and exit as well as just over fences. So you had a very strange situation as officers were trying to run in to render aid.
Right now, those teens are investigators' best bet at figuring out who killed Green. Nearly 2 weeks after the shooting, police are asking witnesses to come forward.
Good luck getting any of those people to quote unquote snitch on the person who killed this innocent kid.
We're positive that someone out there has seen this and can be that very witness that we need so that the family can get some closure and some justice.
And again, the big ask from police is if you know anything, if you saw anything or heard anything, to give Crime Stoppers a call. Right now, the reward stands at about $4,000. In Marietta, Rob DiRienzo, Fox 5 News.
I'm here on the corner of MLK and Frederick Douglass, where a shooting just took place. And as you can see, it's a pretty rough area. So I'm basically risking my life reporting on this madness. So make sure you do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. Like the video, hell, share the video. And make sure you go ahead and leave a comment down in the comments section to continue the discussion on how we can find solutions to all this son violence in the streets. I'm Jenquavius Jackson, here live, reporting from Atlanta, Georgia, BGZM News 17.
17-year-old high school student was shot and killed at a graduation party, and the shooter is still out there. Police are hoping a cash reward will lead to an arrest. The shooting happened at an apartment complex in Marietta. Channel 2 Cobb County Bureau Chief Michelle Newell is there right now. And Michelle, you just spoke to the victim's father.
She called.
Yeah, I just spoke with the father, and he gave me this program from his son's funeral, but the family won't be able to truly grieve this loss until police find the person who shot and killed Grayson Green outside this apartment complex, but they need witnesses to come forward.
He loved his family. He loved everybody around him.
Grayson Green meant so much to so many.
There's going to be so much about my son that I'm going to miss, just hearing him, hey, Dad. He could light up a room with his dimples like everybody says.
Green's future was just as bright as his smile.
He was getting ready to set up his music production company. He just got his LLC.
Uh-oh, so he was into music production, probably on the hip-hop scene, most likely on the hip-hop scene. I couldn't see this brother doing any other type of music unless he played any instruments, which they didn't really mention. But I'm trying to show you guys through this channel the dangers in being involved with the hip-hop industry, hip-hop functions, and just in the community in general, man. And it's sad, it is very unfortunate, but you kind of want to, if you want to live to fight another day, you want to separate yourself from situations like that, okay? Especially these house parties. It's a no-go. You can't go to these kickbacks no more and not expect it to get shot up. These super gremlins, are on demon time.
His father says his son died while trying to protect someone else's life.
My son's a hero.
Green was shot at the Walton Village apartment complex a little more than 2 weeks ago.
When that person particularly pulled out a gun for the most part, he stepped in front and he didn't run from the situation. He protected that person.
Green was attending a graduation party. Police say a large number of teenagers were gathering here in Marietta when shots were fired. Many of them began to leave when officers showed up. Body camera video shows police at the chaotic scene.
The main thing is do what's right, and parents ask your kids if they, if your child went to that party.
And see, this is my thing. He said, do what's right. I'm telling you right now, brother, unfortunately, he seems like a really good dad, really involved father, taking his son to baseball games, all that kind of stuff. But most of these kids, for one, they don't have fathers. And for two, their mothers are not teaching them to do the right thing. Okay? Their mothers are reinforcing the street code because they smashing Pookie and Ray Ray. That's why I'm going to continue to say, sisters, come get your kids.
And have them speak up.
Green's family's desperate plea is that witnesses come forward.
There's a killer out there on the loose, and that shouldn't be happening right now. Everybody claims they love Grayson and want to speak up for Grayson.
Green's family plans on keeping his legacy alive by making sure his music business gets off the ground. Live from Cobb County, Marietta, I'm Michelle Newell, Channel 2 Action News.
At this point, that family, Michelle, just wants people. They just want people to come forward and give information. Thank you.
Another heartbreaking case involving teens and a gun. Atlanta police want to find out who shot and killed a Maynard Jackson High School student outside his Mechanicsville home.
Fox 5's Angelique Proctor spoke with the teen's family about the tragedy.
Devin Matthews' family tells me he was a senior here at Maynard Jackson High School. They say he always had a smile on his face and didn't deserve what he got.
It just hasn't hit me yet. It just doesn't feel real right now.
Drevion Matthews' family is in disbelief that the Maynard Jackson High School senior is dead. Atlanta police say he was shot and killed outside his Mechanicsville apartment last week. Kalia Roberts is his cousin, but says she was more like a sister to him.
We were very, very close. I was his favorite cousin, This just shouldn't have happened. He wasn't that type of person.
Drevion's mother was too upset to talk on camera, but she did tell me this was going to be a milestone summer for her son, who planned to graduate and get a job.
He wasn't in no type of gang or anything. He was just always a loving person.
And see, that's the thing in the community that has to be clarified, okay? Because if you don't say that, and if the family doesn't basically disassociate the young man who was deceased from these gangs and all that kind of stuff, you're going to have a hard time from other communities to get them to feel sorry for this young man, okay? And that's the reality of the situation, and that's why she said what she said about him not being involved in gangs.
And he was his own person, and he was actually due to graduate after the summertime.
The teen's mother believes he was lured outside of their apartment and shot and killed. Medics rushed him to Grady Hospital, but he didn't make it. His cousin has a message for the shooter and many others who illegally use guns.
Put him down. Just let him go. It's not worth it.
Atlanta police are still investigating this homicide. They have no arrests. They say if you have any information, please give them a call. In Southeast Atlanta, Angelique Proctor, Fox 5 News.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
Guess what? I could be at work, in school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.